Yeah, me too. Like, I was just thinking about doing this today, just like as the day was getting closer. I was like, oh man, I have not played this since the way back version that I played in August or July of last year, because I wanted to have the full
Yeah.
experience after playing that original version. So like some of the changes, I'm kind of interested in seeing like what's changed since that
Ooh.
original version, because the original version was already good. I liked it. But now it's just
Oh,
like
thank you.
I know that you've already done like a lot. You were doing some shit after the original beta test, and I was like, oh, that wasn't in there. Okay.
Yeah. But that was really, I'm super grateful to everybody who tested it initially, because that's, not the most fun time to be testing a game. But
I think it's the perfect time to be
it was
testing a
just,
game because we're in a pandemic. What the fuck else do I got to do?
eh, uh, I don't know. I always feel bad because, well, I used to be a professional QA, so I know this. You can't QA your own stuff. But people find like super dumb, careless bugs, and I feel like an idiot. But without these people, I would never find those things, or I would find them when it was like too late to fix them.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and of course, all the playtesters. In the credits, there's a card that is titled "Sexy and Awesome People."
Oh, neat.
Those are the playtesters.
Hey,
I should probably
playtester.
label that explicitly, but I thought it was funny at the time.
Like, I think that's a great credit for people. Like, I usually just put awesome people or something like that. Like, I think like one of my games is just like everybody that worked on it is just under Team Awesome or something. I think that's what I put. Um, so
That's the way to do it.
yeah, like it's just
Maria Misharenko.
oh yeah.
Maria, the dev who edited the Russian subtitles and translated the interface into Russian, she was very diplomatic about it. In her translation of the credits, she put playtesters, awesome people, like parentheses. Yeah, yeah. So I'm like, okay, fine. If you want to,
Fine.
not be sexy and awesome about it, then okay. But I mean, that means it'll be understood by
Right.
at
Like,
least the Russians who play the game.
people can't be sexy in Russian apparently. It's just illegal. You can't do that. You can't be sexy in Russian. I've seen many, many, many Russian people I think are quite sexy, but apparently not something that can happen.
As if it being illegal would stop them.
Exactly.
Think about it.
You are absolutely right. Oh yeah, this is
They're just
good.
legally sexy.
Legally sex. Would you rather be legally sexy or illegally
Illegally
sexy though?
sexy people.
Yeah, yeah. Like I think illegally sexy is the
I'm
way to
already illegally
go.
sexy.
There you go. Just nailing it down.
That's right. That's right. I know what I am. I'm comfortable with that. I'm comfortable
own
being
it.
illegally sexy.
That's like after
Yeah.
after I hit a certain age, I was like, I'm literally owning every single bad trait about myself, and like at least I'm not a murderer or something terrible. Like it's just no, I'm just kind of trash. I'm just kind of trash. I'm okay with that.
Well, that was a liberation of like entering my late 20s and realizing like I genuinely don't care about all these things that I used to freak out about. I just don't care anymore.
Like there's
If people don't like it, that's their problem.
exactly there's like this weird release of tension once you stop giving a damn, right? It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yo, it's my friend Jetstorm4 in the chat. He bumped into our conversation
somebody-
about being illegally sexy. He's illegally sexy as well.
Yeah,
like
that's right.
He can be a part of the illegally sexy brigade. Yo, it's my friend John. He worked on Chronomaniac. He worked with me on a visual novel. 2 of them, in fact.
Ooh.
Oh boy, they're coming in now. Here we go. Look at this. So many people. Yeah, this game is very pretty. Y'all are gonna dig this. I promise.
Happy to get that.
Now they're rolling in. Now the pressure's on. We have to actually be entertaining now. Did you bring your streamer
Entertaining?
pants? Did you bring your pro streamer pants?
Pants?
Uh-oh.
I was supposed to wear pants?
Uh-oh.
I was not told.
Pants are optional in the polystream,
I was not told that clothing was required.
All optional. All optional. Illegally sexy. Embrace it.
Exactly. Exactly.
Hey, my friend Poncho played this, so he knows what we're going into. Oh,
Yeah.
my friend Tinger Gemini does not know shit about this game, but it's pretty. He thinks it like pretty. Seems to be the overwhelming sentiment. I think y'all are also. You're gonna find it's also very well written, very well voice acted. You told me this is a comedy, so I can't wait for all the butt and wiener jokes.
Exactly. That's precisely what this was about.
It's a comedy in 4 acts, right? Like there's butts, wieners, boobs. What's the other funny thing? Farts. There you go.
I mean, what's the
4
point
acts.
of what's? Yeah. It's your essential food groups: just farts and butts.
If you look at my Twitter and the dumb things that I post and laugh at, I mean, it's not far from the truth, unfortunately. Fortunately or unfortunately. So it looks like the crowd is here.
Someone writes.
Yo? What'd someone write?
Someone writes, mad that you're playing this and yet you refuse to test my new Uncle Vanya New Vegas mod. Yes, we must have the... If that exists, I need to install that. I don't think it does, but you should make it exist.
It's he might have made it exist. It's Byron. He's always up to something weird in our game dev channel, so it wouldn't surprise me if he did. But we got ourselves a crowd here. I think we've suitably warmed them up. We've given them the warm welcome they deserve. Everybody, welcome. I am here with... Who are you again? What did you do? Why are you here?
My handle is Shibanya. I am also known as Manuela Malasanya, and I am the developer of this game. So basically what that means is I am responsible for everything that you don't hear.
Oh, wow. Like you literally did like all of the graphics?
So I did I will say, most of the assets in the game, like the meshes, I bought or otherwise obtained. Like I did not make these trees, but all the shaders are mine.
You are like, holy crap. Okay, shaders. Let's talk about shaders. Because, wow, you are like Miss Shaders. Tell everybody like about the shader work that you do, because I think that like it's such a big part of the things that you're involved with. What is it about shaders that like you are so like this seems to be like a big singular focus? So kind of like, I guess we're gonna do a Q&A up front to kind of get everybody familiar, and then we'll get into the game. But I kind of want to get some groundwork laid so people know who you are and how much you love shaders.
Yeah, exactly. Well, what's funny is I never set out to be good at shaders, but I guess some ground establishing things. A shader encompasses a wide variety of things, but basically it's just sort of, if you have a mesh on the computer, aside from a wireframe, what should it look like? Well, a shader is basically the set of instructions that tells the computer what to make it look like. And I mention that because before I started getting to shaders, I actually didn't really give this much thought. Like, I knew that like a DreamWorks movie would look different from a Pixar movie, but I couldn't quite put my finger on why. Or, that the Wind Waker looks different from Hitman, but I couldn't quite put my finger on why, except for like, cell shading. But a shader is kind of what determines the look of everything.
Yeah.
From how the shadows behave, how the lighting behaves, everything.
So like this big purple bloom coming through the trees is likely an effect that you had to create or kind of build from the ground up to kind of make this look. Because this game has a unique look all over that. I have to assume that you kind of did all of this yourself with the use of like very unique shaders and the like.
That's right. The only shaders in this game that I didn't write there's some shaders in the built-in Unity post-processing where they're fine enough. I didn't see a reason to rewrite them. So that would be the bloom, the color grading, and the depth of field. Actually, I ended up rewriting the depth of field and then going with Unity's native one at the very end. But that's a long story. But so everything else, like that effect, the way the grass looks, the shaders on the trees, those are mine.
You're very good at this, I have to say. As somebody who is art illiterate, you are so good at this. Just big ups. So,
thank you.
What is the Cherry Orchard to get people prepared? What is this? Because I've heard like it's a comedy in 4 acts. What is this? What are we? This hot like this is gonna be the classiest thing that's ever been on my stream, by the way. Because usually my stream usually my stream is like, hey, you guys like bad dudes on Nintendo? That's a bad game. You like anime? That's usually my stream. So we're getting high class here tonight. But what is the cherry orchard for us, please?
Highfalutin.
Yeah, I know, right?
It's real fancy thing. Go out for a night at the theater. The Cherry Orchard is a play that was it premiered in 1904, and it was written by famous Russian playwright Anton Chekhov. And it is, I think I don't need to say what it's about because we're about to see it, but it has a lot of significance for those who have studied theater because it's considered one of the greatest plays of all time. And it is, I think, so prestigious in part because it's difficult to produce because it has a conflicting dual nature. It's written as a comedy. Chekhov wrote it as a comedy. You can see these things where it's like he was trying to tell a joke here, but there are a lot of very serious and tragic elements to it. And so to properly make a production happen, you need to figure out how you're going to reconcile these sort of conflicting sides of this play. And I find that very interesting. And it's also well known for being a play which completely changes depending on how it's directed. And that's in part because the characters do things, but they don't say why they do things. They don't explain how they feel. So with the directors and the actors, you can kind of make it your own thing if you know what you're doing.
And
so I wanted to...
Yeah. So you wanted to...
Before I became a game dev, I was into theater. I was a playwright, studied theater, mentored in that. So I've studied acting, but I prefer directing and writing. So I took this project on kind of in an arrogant way of like, what's something I've always wanted to do? I've always wanted to direct the Cherry Orchard because that's supposed to be like one of the most prestigious feathers you can put in your cap as a director is to have directed it. And for an actor too, to have acted in this is considered like one of the best things to put on your resume. So it was out of that arrogance that I decided to do this project.
And, wow, that's really ambitious. And you knocked this out in what, like 8 months or something?
Yeah, something like that. I think I started development in late May of last year, and I shipped November 20th.
Wow, that's bizarre to me. So, I know that when you first announced this, you said two words that lit up all the little indicators in my brain. You said visual novel, and I was just like, wait a minute, you're making a visual novel? Like for those who haven't seen your other game that's currently in the works, Red Star Azimuth. It has this, as we were looking at this really awesome looking vaporwave kind of style going for. First of all, what made you think, okay, I need to direct this play, but also it needs to be vaporwave as hell?
Well, that's an interesting question. I think, because I started, I started out with the idea that I would do a straight up period piece and not indulge in, all the things that I love, the vaporwave and the cheesy over the top stuff. But as some of you know, last July I got very, very ill because I had COVID in April. But then I recovered. But then, as apparently is known to be common now, but nobody knew then, I had heart failure a few months later. And so that was a bit of a memento mori of why am I not making the game I want to make? I think it's time to make the game I want to make.
That's kind of deep, actually. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. That kind of hit me. That hit me in the chest there. That was actually really deep.
I've been through some shit.
Yeah, like last year was not a good year for you. Last year was a bad year for you. I remember you going through the COVID thing and you mentioning the heart, and I was just like, oh man, this is so like. Please be able to live your dream and ship your games. They look so good. But also, as a person, please be of good health.
What was funny is, I guess my last comment, and I think we can kick this off and then keep blathering. when I was sure I was gonna bite it, when I thought like I'm done for, and I actually had, written out documents about like what to do with my various assets and intellectual property upon my demise. That's how sure I was that I was done. I didn't have any like regrets about how I'd been spending my time. My main thought was like, Jet, I might not finish my game. Which to me is a sign that I was on the right track. Like, I wish I had spent my time. Blah blah blah. No. I should just keep doing what I'm doing.
Doing what you're doing,
I'm living my life right.
Yeah. One last thing before we get started. What is your history with visual novels? Because I believe that you were coming at this with not a lot of history with them.
That's right, and I know that makes a lot of fans of visual novels very nervous when someone like who isn't very well versed in the genre kind of pops in, very carpetbagger, like I'm gonna go make a great visual novel. I'm from Texas, so I don't know if anybody else is. That's probably a regional term, but
I've heard that.
Like
too.
anybody who comes in trying to make. Anybody who doesn't habitually consume visual novels, who comes in trying to make like a parody dating sim, is basically a carpetbagger.
Oh yeah, but
like I know better.
I feel that like when it's coming from a place that like you were approaching it from, though, like as a visual novel reader, that makes me excited. I like it when people who aren't familiar with something or who aren't versed in creating or consuming it are taking that kind of stab at a medium that they're not 100% familiar with, because that leads to really cool things. Sometimes, not all the time.
Because I've read some visual novels.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. But now I'm thinking about like examples of But from my point of view, I respect the genre and I enjoy visual novels. I just don't read them much for the same reason I don't watch many movies or TV or play many video games. I'm just like tired and busy all the time. Yeah. So I don't have an extensive background with it, but I wasn't the kind of person who was coming in and being like, look at this stupid genre. I'm going to make the best, I'm going to make a superior visual novel better than everything else that exists. Because I'm so smarter than everybody else who spent their whole lives working on the genre. No. It's just sort of, okay, if I want to tell this kind of story, then this is the kind of game that it is. It is a visual novel. But I was really fortunate to have folks like you and like Ash, who also ended up being cast in this game, but we were friends beforehand, to come to, for feedback and advice. So like a lot of things like the auto advance button was a feature that didn't, like I wasn't going to add that, but then I think it was Ash who told me like, no, you have to have
you
that.
have to. A lot of people use that. Like reading visual novels is a lot of the times a hands-free situation. So yeah, that was a smart move. All right. So
well, I was doing the reverse. It was auto advancing.
Oh yeah, and then it stopped. Yeah, and then you put in the ability.
So it wasn't
to make
stopping.
It stop.
I had to. Yes, and that was more difficult than you might think because everything's like animated. So like I had to make sure everything was like synced up. But because previously it just like played straight through. It didn't stop at the end of every line. But now if you want to, you can turn off auto advance.
Yeah.
But it's the kind of thing that was important to be in touch with people who consume more visual novels than myself, to make sure I was like, being respectful to the genre and hitting all the right things.
And also
anyway,
leaving your own unique mark on it, I think. And I think that's really cool. So, we're ready. All right, who's ready to dive in? Let's go.
All right.
We are going to start the Cherry Orchard. Here we go. I believe you should have sound on your end.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, so you'll be able to hear it as well.
Let's see.
Hey, that's you.
Yes, I can. Yeah, it's Team Dogpit. That's my studio.
Only 43 years. That doesn't seem like a long time.
I don't think so. Yeah, it's definitely like within living memory. And I made a decision to do that instead of displaying the date. Because if I throw up on the screen like, the year is 1904, does that really mean anything?
Yeah.
It's like I don't...
It could also date people out. I know people that get weird about games taking place in old-timey... Like, they're really weird. But I know people like that.
Yeah.
Lots of money.
So this guy's rich.
Yeah.
If you think about it and
Yep.
Oh, this is the trailer.
I'm still a peasant.
That was a teaser.
Oh, this was
Splitting hairs.
okay. That was not in the version I played. The whole marrow thing and like the effect that's going on there with his arm. Watch for that, by the way.
Yeah, I actually got that in pickups. I had an additional session
Screwed up everything again.
with Matt, who's the
All the way out
actor
here
who
to
plays
pick her up at
Lepakin,
station.
and we
Perfect,
got
dude.
that
Fall asleep in a chair. Oh,
because I
Gentile.
think some
Why
playtesters.
didn't you wake me up?
Oh, that's right. People were missing in early playtests the relationship Lepakin had with the rest of the family.
Right. Yeah. Like if you weren't familiar, that would be a little
The white one and the violet
confusing.
one, they're the same as when you left 5 years ago.
Because I think after that, it's not mentioned a lot exactly who he is or where he came from.
I used to sleep here when I was
And in that opening bit, like, he just goes right out and he says it. And what was kind of funny is that gave me a chance to kind of, like, all the sort of meta stuff here was not in the early playtestable version that you saw.
Ooh.
But it enabled me to include some lines which otherwise would have not worked well with a modern style. Like that whole monologue he gives there in the original play, he says it to a maid, which is such a like it's a huge cliche now.
Yeah.
It's like gives exposition to a maid or receives exposition from a maid.
I've got to go off to Kharkov on the 5 o'clock train.
It
I'm
hadn't
so
been totally
sorry. I
overused
really
back
wish I could
then,
stay
but
in
nowadays it's ridiculous. But if I have him just deliver that to the audience, then that seems a little more fresh.
Yeah.
So
Like and it's
my way
such a
of-
good it's
It's
such a
what
good opening stinger, I think. Really like that.
You like the waistcoat? But how about the shoes?
yeah, I'm glad because
They're yellow.
the whole thing, the sort of like vaporwave magic stuff that is seen throughout here was, I think, I was taking a very
That-
big
that-
risk, and I'm really
that
glad
doesn't get
that
to me.
people seem to have
Let
been
'em
mostly
talk.
receptive to it.
Only,
Because that was a decision I also made later
Only I-
in the project after the first
I
big
just
round of
wish you would've
playtesting.
looked
when you
Yeah,
saw it.
because I didn't see that. Like the whole like the dual. You know, like we going back to the duality of stuff and how that's sort of manifesting in the visuals now. That we're starting to see. Like where he like I don't know if people caught it in the background. He was trying to shake it off. That was a really fucking cool little detail there. And we'll find like if you don't know what's going on there, you will know what all of that means as this story progresses. But that's such a
Oh,
cool
yes.
way to present what you're presenting. So is there anything like kind
Oh,
of
thank
happening
you.
at
And-
the moment that we kind of want to go over, or do we just want to keep letting it roll and continue conversation?
I think one thing I'll point out is there was a brief flashback where we saw the younger Hermes Lepakin in full peasant mode talking to Varya. So you probably go back and look at that. I wanted to point that out. I included that basically to, for not a real literary reason, it was that people were, and I don't know if I ever fully solved this, when people saw him from 5 years ago when he was a peasant, people were assuming he was getting older or turning into his father instead of turning into himself 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So I
could be
included
confusing.
that pretty late to try to make it explicit. Like, no, he used to look like this. This is what he used to look like.
Okay. So I use the little back button here, right, to see that again, or
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see here.
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
I'm
the back
straight- Only let him.
Uh-oh.
People.
They're yellow.
You just have to jab that a few
Is
times.
that really
Uh-oh.
you,
Wait.
Hermes?
Did I go back too far?
One more.
One more.
You get one more.
Well.
Nope, you're good.
Great as
Okay.
always.
No, we're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah. So that was the whole point of that.
Varya is awesome, by the way.
But,
Like, give her voice actress all the kudos in the world. She does a bang up job in this. Like everybody does a bang up job, but she is my favorite character, just by far.
People say I've changed.
oh yeah.
They call
It
me
was
a
great to
snob.
work with Ash.
that-
Ash
that
is the
doesn't get
actress
to
who
me.
plays Varya,
Let
but
'em
she's also a friend of mine from a few years
Only
before this. We used to live in the same
I
town.
just wish you wouldn't look at me like I'm a stranger.
And she was someone I was going to for advice
Still
about
me in here.
making sure, I was
I want you to see this
making a good visual novel. In fact, it was kind of due to her advice, I was able to make this because I was coming to her like a month before I actually started this, being like, "Hey, is it like a thing? Is it possible to make a visual novel without branching paths? Is that allowed?ed?" And she's like, "Oh
yeah,
yeah,
kinetic."
novel, the whole
family.
subgenre." Like, okay, great. That means I can do this.
I'm not in a state to do it.
So let's put people in kind of the mind of Lubov here. What's going on with her? Kind of like, who is she and what's going on? Like, we know that she's got to sell the cherry orchard, but like, maybe it feels like she's maybe not all there, or is this just like an extreme case of denial?
Well, I think that's the central question of the play. Like,
if
you approach it and like from the point of view of why does she act like this? I think the answer to that is the theme of the story.
Right.
Because what is interesting to me about this is if we kind of take it on its face that these characters are like farcical and larger than life, then later things don't make sense. And she does have some depth that we see later. So she actually must be, and she is like rather emotionally intelligent in other scenes.
Yeah.
So she's not acting like this because she's stupid. Something must be driving her to act like this. It must be less painful for her to act like this than to not act like this.
Yeah. She's a silly woman, by the way.
One thing... Yes.
I love this.
So as an audience...
My little table. It's so good.
Oh, but I had something important to tell you. I'll just sum it up in like 2.
What's kind of funny is I feel this weird compulsion about the script. Whenever people like point out something interesting about it, I always feel like yelling, "That's in the original! I didn't change any of the words!" It's just like nobody accused me of doing it, but
don't worry. I have a plan. Listen closely.
This weird need to defend
This scene is so good! Oh
Right
my
by.
god!
If the cherry orchard
This is so fantastic! Holy shit!
apartments,
I love this.
you can rent those out and get
Oh my god, you fucking nailed this so hard!
I don't understand you at all.
Vaporwave, baby.
Oh, that was so
an
good!
acre from the leaseholders and 25 rubles at the very least. And if you put ads up now, you won't have
I
a
wish
booking
I
plot by
had done more
fall.
scenes like that, but I
They'll
couldn't
go
find an
like
excuse
that.
to shoot right in. It just made sense for him to be
You're saved. All you
when
have
he's
to do
when
is
he's
clean
explaining
up
all this
a little,
high level
you know,
shit about
pull
like,
down the old
pardon my language,
buildings,
you know,
place
where
out
everything's
the
located, how many miles and
places,
whatever. It made sense to do that.
Yeah, like that's so
Although it's so
smart.
funny,
Put it down. Oh, dear Mary.
that line's otherwise kind of boring. Like who cares if it's 13 miles, whatever. But if I do that, then it's actually kind of fun and exciting.
Remarkable in the whole province.
The music choice was perfect as well. Just like,
I don't see what's interesting about it.
The
cherries only
music,
grow in every
all
other
of the
year,
music in
and
this game,
even then, you
except
never know
for
what to do
2
with them.
tracks, is done
like anyone buys
by Jordan Rorty, who I
Sword
think
is
might
mentioned
be
in the
present in chat.
oh really?
And he's the composer. I saw him a little bit earlier. I don't know if he's still with us.
Enjoying your
This is like
soundtrack a lot, by the way. This it marries with this material so well.
Decision now. I swear, it is the only way.
Oh, yep. He's here. He's under the handle Robot Cousin.
Cool. Appreciate you coming by. Love the
And
tunes.
Burned into it. It was made exactly 100 years ago.
It was fun to work with him on
We could
this.
celebrate
In a way, I
its
think
birthday.
he's probably my closest collaborator.
Soul of its
Because
own,
I worked very hard with
still,
the actors and close with them, but I think the sum total of that would be a few days of working together,
Okay, I have to
whereas
get
I
going.
worked
I'll
with
be back
Jordan
in 3
over a
weeks.
few weeks.
Au revoir, Varya.
And that was actually nice to have somebody to kind of like talk to about development for a while, because otherwise
Wait,
game development is a bit
single
lonely.
word and I'll raise
Oh,
your
yeah.
rubles immediately, okay?
'Cause it's-
Think about it.
Just go.
It's kind of funny as people are like, you share everything on Twitter. It's like, no, I don't share everything. You don't know what I'm not sharing.
Going.
But,
Oh, this great little comedic moment there of him stumbling out like a ding dong. Was that improvised? Because it sounds a little improvised. It was really good though.
the trip
Not.
is improvised by Matt.
Right.
Um,
It was really cute.
But the I'm going, just go already is in the original script.
Right.
What's fun is I recommend everybody check out the original script after this, because what I did was I adapted the public domain translation from 1916 into like modern American English. Because
Everybody
I
talks
wanted to
about
make
our
sure
marriage.
that everybody playing
congratulates
this,
me,
regardless
but
of how
there's
familiar they are
nothing
with the
there.
story, like when they see the text on screen, they know immediately what's being said.
Yeah.
So I wanted to modernize the speech. But past that, I didn't change any of the lines. I didn't invent things or add things.
Hear the starling.
All I did was remove things because it's abridged.
There's my mother going in the orchard, dressed in white.
But it's just a good script. There's a reason why this play has been popular for over 100 years.
Yeah.
Marvelous
Like it's
story.
like your adaptation, like you putting your own spin on something like this. Oh boy, here we go. It's Peter. Oh boy.
Let you unpack.
Everybody loves Peter.
Oh, we're on second.
Morning, but I'm too
You should
impatient
click his
for
head
that.
so everybody sees like the first playthrough. Probably.
Oh,
I forgot to mention.
Oh, I didn't know that was a thing. I like because what happened is when I was testing this morning, and when I left when I left home, I left the game running, and it's a kinetic game. It's gonna finish on its own, so I forgot. Oops. Okay, I gotta click his head. Boom. There we go. Look at this sexy man. Look at him go. Look at him in his anime glory. He is such a I love this shot. She is just having none of it.
Oh yeah, I had the most fun animating Peter. And well, I guess since everybody's seen it, I could kind of explain the backstory. I'll think it'll have more impact if everybody sees it in the first playthrough state. But
yeah, sorry about that. I'm a goof.
Oh well, I should have mentioned it. Peter didn't become Pretty Peter until very late in development. So for most of this, I was looking at him as, present Peter. There was, because for most of this, there was no vaporwave magic. There was no, crazy VFX. It was just supposed to be a straight period piece, straight up retelling.
Yeah.
But so when the character, looked more kind of goony, I suppose I would say, it was much. I think it made more sense to give him these super cartoony, exaggerated facial expressions because he already looked kind of goofy.
Right.
And I don't think I was consciously thinking that, but if you have a character like Varya, it feels weird or looks weird to give her a really goofy, exaggerated, ugly facial expression.
Yeah.
Even though, like, I was turning around and giving Peter these goofy facial expressions, but it's because he looked goofy. So
there you
what was
go. There's
funny
some
is
good
when I
ones.
decided
I told you to wait till tomorrow.
make him pretty. I didn't read all the face animation I did, so now you've got Pretty Peter making these stupid facial expressions, and I think the effect is great.
It's so good. And oh man, yeah. Here's the sad. Oh no. You said this was a comedy. Why am I crying?
My boy.
That's a question a lot of people have asked me.
It's all right. It's all right.
My boy's dead. He was drowned.
And in fact, that earlier bit where the fake photograph doesn't really make a lot of sense.
Making all this
But I
noise.
included that also to show this is genuinely what he looked like 5 years ago. He's not like inventing this persona. Because his problem is not making up shit that didn't happen. His problem is being stuck in the past.
Yeah.
That's sort of the main thing with all these characters. Except for Varya. Varya has no lessons to learn, really. I guess I love Varya. I wanted to make sure Varya was an interesting character because it's easy for her to be boring.
Yeah, like she's it's not really a passive role in this story, but it's clear that like she's not the focus. But I think like what you did, like she like in this version anyway, she really stands out. Like, and it's a combination of really good writing and the actress just nailing it.
But she doesn't like us. Mom married a lawyer, not a nobody.
It was I'm glad we pulled it off. There are a lot of like kind of semi-risky things I did in this, which is funny because I didn't want to be like, I'm gonna go make some crazy interpretation of the Cherry Orchard nobody's seen. Like I kind of wanted to hew pretty closely to the original because I knew this would be the first exposure many people would have to the story. So I didn't want to do the Cherry Orchard in space when nobody's seen the Cherry Orchard.
Just to be a bitch.
That's the sequel. We're gonna put it in space next year.
Exactly. So I wanted to be kind of conventional about it in that way. And in fact, the way I depict Lepokin is based directly on Chekhov's letters, his personality.
Neat. Oh, look, there's some fun. There's some magic going on now. There's some good meaning behind all this. Vaporwave magic, baby.
But,
here we go.
Hell yeah. Varya is usually a very passive character. And she's usually kind of like the wet blanket.
Yeah.
She's the sort of like, stop having fun, everybody. Start being responsible, everybody.
Have to make up your mind now.
But
There's
that raises
time
my
to
hackles, I think, as a woman and a feminist.
Right.
Plan for apartments
No.
or not? Just one
Don't
word.
be like that.
Yes or no.
Although I think the Cherry Orchard is actually better than most contemporary works with regards to women, but I'll get to that after I finish
Oh yeah,
this
absolutely.
thought.
Yeah.
I have a
Of money yesterday. There
um,
isn't much today.
I worked with Ash very closely to
fake.
make it so that Varia does have a character arc and she does have dilemmas. I think what makes a character interesting is the dilemmas they have. If the character has no
Absolutely.
dilemmas, they're not interesting.
There it is.
Um,
All over the place.
so that
That
she
rich
doesn't
man,
just come
Billy
off as,
Ganoff, is
you know,
preparing to buy
a stop
your
having
estate.
fun girl.
They
Yeah.
say he'll
So I'm
come
glad
to
that we
sale
pulled that off.
himself.
Where did you
Yeah,
hear that?
you did a fantastic job. She's a really really
That's
good
what they're
character.
saying in town.
Don't worry so much for
I'm
me.
glad, I'm glad.
I love these updates on what's happening as well. These I don't think these were in the original. Like the updates of like who's the antagonist now? Like what brought that about? Like that's such a cool little thing that you did.
Oh, you don't think 10 or 15,000 would
I
be
think
enough?
part of it is,
No offense.
while I wanted to make this very
You're the
accessible to
least
people who are not
business-savvy
familiar with the
person I've met
story,
in my life.
I knew that the play is famous enough because if
telling
you,
you that
you know,
your
grew up in the
estate would be
Anglophone
sold.
world, if you studied theater, you studied this play.
Right.
And if you grew up
Seem
in
to
this
understand.
Slavic or
So what am
Russian-speaking
I
world,
supposed to
you
do?
have definitely studied this play in like high school.
Yeah.
So there's a sizable number of
tell
people,
you
even though this is
every
niche
day.
in, you know, the
I say the same
Anglophone
thing
English-speaking
every
world.
day, but both the
Um,
cherry orchard and the land have to
So
be cleared for development
one
immediately.
thing that I was playing with, I
Yorkshire
mentioned
is
how
staring you in the
Lopakin's
face.
personality, I wanted
But
to make
once
here
you have rentals,
closely to
tenants,
Chekhov's
you'll
original
have as much
intentions. Well, the
money
reason why
as you
is
want.
the
Rentals
traditional
and
way to depict this
tenants.
character is not that.
It's so
Oh,
It's
yeah?
traditional to depict Lopakin
Excuse me.
as a greedy, scheming villain.
I can't take it anymore.
And
you
I
are
think
too much.
the reason why
Oh, don't go.
is
Please don't go
classism,
away.
basically.
Oh yeah.
Because he's
yeah.
explicitly low-born.
Yeah.
He's explicitly not an aristocrat, like his whole complex.
As if
Oh,
the
yeah.
And so,
house is going to collapse over my
if
head.
he's a bad person, then that means that nobody else is at fault for anything that happens.
Correct.
But if he's not a
sins could
bad
you
person, then that
possibly have?
means that the
My
reasons
sins?
for everything that happens are a little more
I've
complex.
always spent money on
Yeah,
women.
it adds a little complexity. I like that.
And I
Yeah,
married a
yeah.
man who made nothing
But I play with that because anybody that is kind of what's funny is it's not a twist for people coming into this for the first time, but it's a twist for people who studied this or have seen it before. The kind of twist that he's not a bad guy. So I'm kind of like doing this periodic checking up of who is the bad guy of this. Some of them as a kind of wink to
That's really cool.
familiar with it who are going like, obviously he's the bad guy. He's the bad guy, right? When it's like, no, things aren't that.
It's not so black and white. Like I like that. Like you can still kind of see that read in him a little bit, like the kind of like the villainy role. But it's not like he's not just entrenched. It's not like that. It's like you said. Like his motives are complex.
Yeah, and you know that was Chekhov's
It's that
intention, and he
local
was
guy.
actually very angry
remember?
when
Four
he saw
violins,
what had
blue,
happened on
Oh.
opening night.
Oh, there's still a thing?
He was also
It would be
angry
nice to
about
hire
something
them
with
out
regards
for a
to
party
the girls, because there's originally another daughter of Lubov. I combined the characters. That they were depicted as crybabies. They were like crying all the time. He was like, no, that's not how.
Oh wow!
But
This did not go as intended.
it's less challenging.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I was-
It's
I
less
was just
challenging
thinking
the
about
audience
this
if the
funny thing I
lowborn
saw in
character is
theater last
evil and the
night.
girls are
I'm sure
crybabies.
there was
Yeah.
It's more challenging
about it.
if these characters are a little more rounded.
You should spend less time
So
watching
I was-
plays and
I was happy to have the opportunity to bring that to this
you're
adaptation.
so joyless now, and you try to make
very
up
cool.
for it by talking too much.
She's not wrong. He is kind of a wet blanket now.
Yeah,
He's kind of consumed in that richer lifestyle. But I mean, I guess when you are lowborn and you kind of like that's a traditional
honest,
arc. I think is being lowborn and then kind of making it and then kind of turning into the thing that maybe
Well, you
you
mentioned
resented.
My dad
I mean, you
was
mentioned
a
it's a traditional
peasant.
arc. I think that this character
Idiot.
set a lot of cliches
Mm-hmm.
because he's kind of like
Understood.
the archetypal workaholic, and he's the archetypal like
was
insecure, rags to riches.
Yeah, yeah, you get that.
I think a lot of that, at least the
truth
modern
is-
versions of those tropes, are probably originated
Truth
with this
is,
character.
I'm a peasant and an idiot too.
Oh, you see the magic
I
happening
never
again.
learned
Oh.
anything. My handwriting
Yep,
is terrible. And anyone
Um,
sees it,
I know I was taking a risk with this But I'm glad most people seem to understand, like, this is not literally happening.
No, this
is-
is a good manifestation of his
Yeah.
own insecurities and what he's dealing with mentally, and I'm so here for that shit.
Here's a point.
And what was fun is like it's not happening for real in
No.
the universe of the story either.
My friend.
No,
It is in his mind.
Yeah,
But it's in his mind
Yes.
in a way that's real and meaningful in the sense that
She's a
it
nice
causes
girl.
him distress. Like he doesn't think it's real either. It's just sort of
She knows how to
my way of
manage a
communicating
home.
to you how
She's
he
a
feels.
hard worker. And what
Usually
matters
with
most,
VFX and shaders.
she's in love with
It's
you.
really, yeah, it gives you a
So
lot
I'm
of
glad most people.
Yeah, like I'm glad that worked because, like I said, that's something that I knew that you were putting in afterward, and you posted screenshots. And I was like, "What is this? What are you doing?" And it looked incredible at the time. So seeing it in the final version and seeing what you did and how you've made it work, it's just incredible.
Only know how much I love you.
Oh, listen to this guy. He is
I
just
think what
going
makes
on and
it-
on.
Perhaps a man has 100.
Yeah, I love this. I love this. I think Will was kind of skeptical of these lines when we were getting them,
Right?
but it comes together very well.
He's very like he loves hearing himself talk.
If you take the matter
Oh,
seriously,
yes.
it will
Oh,
not
yes.
complicate it. Then what
I'll point out
pride
this is a
and
non-diegetic
what
English
sense can
accent.
there be
Right.
if a man is
I don't think the other
imperfectly
characters hear him as
physiologically
having an
speaking.
accent.
Tell us something about the planet.
Nah, tell
I
us
didn't
about
cast
life
for the
on
accent.
campus.
Will just had the best
About those
audition for the best
joys.
character,
Mhm.
but it kind of works out really well with this kind of
Well, that's none of your business.
student.
Probably
Right? Yeah.
27 going on 50.
Oh man, now we're getting into it. This little back and forth is really good.
Oh, well, if they're so stupid, it seems kind of stupid to
It's
get
fun.
mad
It's
about.
fun.
True. I can't expect a man without.
Well, it's fun also if you watch other adaptations after this to see what they did. I think it was the 1962 Royal Shakespeare Company version. Has Lopakin like prodding him in the face with a riding crop.
Just as a wild beast that does nothing
Which
but
is kind
stop
of
its
also
face, fills a
amazing in
vital
itself.
ecological niche.
So, I want to point out a really fun voice acting thing I just heard here that was really, really great with the Peters. And the line is currently showing in the line before it. In the line before, it's the setup, and then it's the insult. In the line before, this line right here, when he's setting it up, you hear this little quiver of joy in his voice, like he's already laughing. And it's such a natural and cool thing. Like, that came through so naturally and cool. Like, he cannot wait to bury this dude. And it comes through so good. I just wanted to point that out. That line
I
just
love that.
that line just jumped out at me because of that little quiver of anticipation in his voice. It's so good.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The voice acting for this game. Now you know this, but I don't know if your viewers know this. Was recorded in group sessions, which is almost never done. Almost
Yeah,
never
it's
done in video
rarely-
games.
It's very rare. Yeah.
We have to sort that out.
What?
'Cause
So
it's
everybody was
logistically
like, so you were doing like
difficult.
basically a live read, and then kind of recording
Yeah.
that with direction. Like, who directed? Did you direct?
Hermes.
I directed it. I mean, the whole
Nice.
thing, I put the
wow.
voice acting is the reason why this exists. This
Yeah.
exists because I wish to direct
It's
through
time.
Orchard.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm always happy to hear the praise that the voice acting gets because it's like that's the reason why this exists. I made this for the voice acting.
Yeah, like the voice acting
Um,
is super. Oh, here we go. Getting more into it now. That's such a good shot.
Oh yeah.
Can't
Thank
stop
you.
thinking of how wonderful it would be to go away somewhere by myself.
We had multiple takes, so it wasn't like a cold read. In fact, we did a table read before everything, before the main sessions, because I wanted to do this like a play, as
Oh
close
yeah,
to being
yeah.
like a
Like
play as I could.
to try and get it to come across as naturally as a play as you could. Yeah.
Great grandfather and all your
Yeah,
ancestors
and
served
I was emphasizing everybody, you know, very. We need authenticity to the
now
moment.
doesn't something
Just a very Stanislavski thing. Just a famous director and had his method of acting. Ironically, Stanislavski was the very first director of this play.
Oh wow.
Which is kind of appropriate to use his method, right? But as you recall, Chekhov was very pissed off by how Stanislavski
can only be done
this.
with hard, uninterrupted.
So
Believe me, I
take some
haven't been
things
anywhere
and
here.
You've got the keys. Throw them
that
down and never look
I
back.
wanted to have the performances be as authentic and lifelike as possible.
Nice.
And the actors were fantastic, and I think they could have done amazingly even in isolation. But I definitely think them being able to actually like react off of each other elevated the performances.
Yeah, like I think that there's definitely kind of like it's something that I had noticed originally when I played the original build that you sent out last year, was that like the voice acting definitely had a more togetherness to, like people actually sound like they're bouncing off each other, and it's not something you can always get done. Yeah.
And the pauses and stuff are there because I maintained the pauses that the actors put in their performances.
Right.
Believe me. I'm not 30 yet. I'm young. I'm still a student, but I'm wise beyond my
shout
years.
out to Jordan for this awesome track.
Yes. This is one of my favorites.
But my soul
And like I'm not even like a super vaporwave kind of person. Like it's not typically what I listen to typically. But this like I think that like there's a lot to be said about like a piece of media having like being able to connect you to something else that you're not typically into, which is again vaporwave music. It's not something I'm typically into, but I liked what you did with this project, so that like since it all comes together and is this one cohesive thing. Oh, cool! I found something to like tap into with that genre now.
Well, I think what was important for making that work is to not just do it for aesthetic, ironically, but to make it something inseparable from the final product. So I associate that with like the vaporwave magic, the effects and so forth. Even though that was a late addition, the reason why I think that works is because it exists to underscore the existing subtext.
Yeah.
It's not inventing anything new. And so I think what works about the vaporwave stuff is, as a genre, it's all about looking back to the past, but in a way that never really existed.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what all these characters are doing throughout this story.
Oh wow, that's fucking dope. That's such a cool, like, tying it thematically together. Not just like the story and creating this piece of media, but just like the music is also an interestingly good part of why this theming works, because it ties so directly into the characters and their own mental states and their own motivations. That's so neat. Why are you so smart?
Aw, I'm not smart. I just make video games, make computer games.
Oh, we are in a good scene now. Here we go. This is a great, this is great. Oh, he's having a good time.
This song, Jordan gave these tracks great names.
Oh yeah?
This track is called Side Eye. And it's named after the side eye which Arya gives to her here. There is a related track to this, which is a bit more intense and dark. And it's called Side Eye, but from the other eye.
Oh. We're saving that for the space version.
The auction has to be over by now.
I hope everybody enjoys the backgrounds here. This
This is so, like I was about to say, like, this background, just stunning looking.
If he misses, no parking knows where
Thanks. I was able to like cut loose a bit more in this act.
Why are you getting angry, Varya?
I think
If he's teasing
because,
about Hermes, so
like, this is supposed to be when we're seeing the part of the house that's like suitable for the party, the opulence,
Right.
declined aristocracy sort of thing.
nobody's going to
And everybody will see later, particularly when we look at the actual ballroom, where
He's a good man.
there's some stuff that definitely is actually real. It's some vaporwave magic here. But what I wanted this scene, like the setting, to feel like was like too much, uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like disorienting, I think. Not to actually literally disorient the audience, because that would be very bad to do in a video game, but the sense that if you were there, you would be disoriented.
Yeah.
So I think it more or less comes across.
Yeah, it gets across really well. Just the waviness of the music and the visuals are definitely getting that across in a really good. Like the situation is uncomfortable for these characters at the moment, and it feels very like this is very uncomfortable for the reader / viewer as well. So it's really good.
Look, you're 40 years old.
You're 40. He looks like he's 40 years old. Look at cute anime boy. He's 40 years old.
Why do you get the caught up here?
Oh, she's pissed. She's
I
pissed.
Don't understand these
Oh yeah.
people.
Throughout this whole story, everybody's telling him he looks like shit.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, so I knew that some people who were going in without knowing where I was going with this would probably think that, like, why do they keep saying that? It doesn't make sense. And then eventually it all makes sense.
See, like, there's some fun, like, other fun visual novels I've played that pull a trick like that, where it's just like, characters are saying things that might sound weird. It's like, why did they word that a specific way? And then you find out there's a reason for it later. It's like one of my favorite twists in another VN series that I liked a lot. So like when I saw what was going on here, and this was a kind of like a similar kind of deal. I was like, oh wow, this is going way deeper than I thought it was gonna go.
Oh, fun thing to point out here. This is a bit of new animation that I did in January.
Oh.
And
you
you need to watch the extra scene after the end of this.
Sure.
I'd feel better if I knew if the estate
There's
was
an extra
sold
scene.
or
It's like it's not too long.
Let's see.
I did the animation for the extra scene first for that bit, and there's some stuff later when Varya confronts Sipa caught up where I did the animation for the extra scene first, and then it's like, well, I have this, and I should put it into my main scene. So in the extra scene is the gender flip version.
Oh right. Okay.
We have this tender moment here where Peter touches Lubov's hand. And I think it worked out great, and I'm glad that I put it in. But what's funny is I specifically put that in to get around an interesting gender dynamic, which resulted in the gender flip version of if we have, an older man putting his hand on a young woman's shoulder, that can seem a bit threatening.
Yeah.
Especially if, like, she didn't ask him to. So by having Peter touch Lubov's hand there, it indicates that, it's because they're like family. This is a good, this is a good touch. It's not bad touch.
Yeah.
So that's the reason for doing that. So I feel like you don't need to do that if we have, Lubov as a woman touching Peter's shoulder
Yeah, like
so
that's
much.
totally a different dynamic.
Yeah, but we still have Peter touching her hand, which I, wouldn't have done otherwise. For that reason, it's really, it's nice. So I'm like, that worked out really well. It's a good.
I'm eager to see that.
Out in a nice.
Oh no! Here it comes! Here comes the drop!
What they call an insult.
There it is! So, oh my god, this is such a good tearing down of a person. I know we talked over it, which, fine, but like, this is I absolutely loved this tearing down. Like, it's so good. And to end with that I was not expecting the end cell line, and I literally fucking howled the first time I played this.
I knew that was another risk I was taking, but in the script that I'm working off of, the translation from 1916, she calls him a bungler.
Yeah. Oh,
and so it's like,
yeah, not quite as
she turns down persona, and then the finale of that she calls him a bungler. That's like gonna ruin the drama of this scene.
Right. Yeah. There you go.
But I'm thinking, okay, so what is she really driving at? Because what is she saying? Like, you kind of puff yourself up like this to make up for the fact that, like, you're kind of a failure socially.
Yeah, and like, what better way to describe that than incel?
Exactly.
Oh no, I can't believe we killed Peter! I can't believe he's fucking dead!
Talk about it.
Comedy!
You pure soul.
Yeah, what's funny is, like, as I mentioned, I didn't make any shit up. That happens in the original script.
It's such a fun.
And
Simon, you really have
You have to handle that really well, or else it's very strange. And some of the movie versions of this, they like cut that entirely, or they do it in a really like goofy way.
Yeah, I
It's
wouldn't
like, no,
know.
come on.
I wouldn't know how to present that.
I'm not calling you to order. I'm only telling you.
Like
Never see you at your desk.
in the 1981 movie, they have him trip down like 2
Why
steps.
don't we keep it close?
Oh,
That's not falling down.
that's not. Yeah, that's not good. No.
Billiards is only a matter to be
'Cause after that,
settled by people of
you know,
understanding.
this is treated as like this big comedy moment. It's like it's not that funny if he falls down 2 steps.
No.
In fact, if he does, that's
Oh,
like why would anybody even remark on that?
Okay. You're doing my shit here. You're doing my shit here. You're doing fun stuff with the text box, and why? I did not know this was in here. This was not in the version I played. I remember seeing pictures of
It's
you
not.
doing something like this on, like this. I saw you doing this like a week ago on Twitter, wasn't it? Is this new?
It was. This is new, yeah. This is another thing of I animated this first for the extra feature, and then it's like, I mean, it exists. I might as well put it into the canon interpretation as well.
Oh, this is so good. Like I said, I love it when things get played with like this, and just emphasizing that moment. So good. Holy crap.
I just ask you to express yourself.
Express yourself.
Well, what is funny is
delicately.
that's such a fun. That's such a great minute of comedy.
Oh.
Like that's the original cat line, and you know it's been like redone to death. Since then, but
Right.
It's such a funny. Someone in no position to make demands saying something like that is very funny.
Right.
Because I know it's a bit lost, because this is actually a character who appears throughout the play, but this play's a bridge, so he only shows up here. He's an employee of the family.
Mm-hmm.
It's like she could shit can him anytime she
Anytime,
wanted. So he's
like-
really in no position.
Yeah, like what's it?
Yeah.
Womp! There we go. I wanted that moment. There we go. So
For comedy.
I have to ask, like, because see, I only work
Yes.
with 2D because I'm a baby and a dummy. Is any of this mocapped at all, or is this all just straight up? Oh, you animated this yourself, like everything.
So what I did was I bought or obtained otherwise, and I didn't pirate anything because I didn't want to run afoul of that, but there's some free libraries. I bought or obtained free animation packs, which did not cover, like, there's a lot of bespoke animation here that is obviously not from anything.
Sure.
But what I did so that I didn't go insane is I would combine things. So, like, if a character is standing and talking, and obviously, like, the arm and head movement is unique to this, usually what's happened is, like, the lower body movement is coming from an idol from an existing library.
Okay,
Because otherwise it would have been too much one person to do.
Yeah, because when I saw that you were doing the visual novel, like, because I'm used to talking portraits. That's the kind of visual novels I make. So when it was like you're doing a fully animated game, which, like, I think the direct analogs I had to that were Telltale's The Walking Dead and The Somnium Files. I was like, there's got to be a lot of work that goes into something like that, and you did this in 8 months?
Is that you, Hermes?
I'll point out all of the face animation, all of the eye movements and the head movements are completely unique to this.
Right.
Tell me.
So anything you see their faces do, I did.
Nice.
Painstakingly.
Okay.
But it's because it's not possible to, like, buy a library to do that, because every, mesh's rig is different.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So, like, I rigged the faces. I set that up.
Hermes, what happened?
And that's sort of an undertaking of itself of,
Well,
how does the face deform to
quick.
make these different
For
expressions?
the love of God, is
The way you
this
do that
tortured soul?
kind of distinguishes the character's personality and has to be done with a lot of care.
Who bought
Yeah.
it?
Like, everybody's very unique, so you did a good job of, like, making sure that everybody is a unique personality, both in terms of having great voice acting and having their these really great lines to deliver, but the facials are just like, God, her look of disgust is, man, her being pissed off is like, that's my jam. That's so good.
Oh, okay. Wait.
Well, the part
wait,
where she's
wait,
threatening
wait,
you because of that,
Wait,
if you recall in the original, that was already there just as a still panel
Yeah.
in the visual novel
Yeah.
segment. She was always grabbing him by the tie and threatening him. I just fully animated that.
Yeah.
She's always been a tough rod.
Okay.
Yeah, we love her a lot. We stand the fuck out of Varya over here.
and Lubov's brother only had 15,000 rubles. And Derek offered 30,000
what is kind
on
of
top the
funny
mortgage to
is
begin with.
about everybody
I
being
saw how
unique.
it
In
was.
fact, Varya and Peter
He went up to 45,
have the
so I
same
offered 55.
face.
He went up
Oh,
by
wait,
5,
around
I
that
went
way.
up by 10.
Really?
Well, to make a
because-
long story short,
So
I did
for the
90 more than the
face,
mortgage,
because
and
it takes
that
a very
was
long
that.
time to set up a face for animation. A very long time. It's a lot of effort. So to save time, I took a model from Red Star Azimuth and used her face as the basis. So Varya's face is the face of Yona from Red Star straight up, although they have different textures.
Neat.
So the face of Peter is this same face, but stretched out into a more masculine shape. But that means like the deformations, and I don't mean deformations in a pejorative way, just when we talk about a mesh.
Yeah, like when you're moving the
deforming
face
to
around to create the unique animations.
the deformations are the same
Yeah.
because they came from the same
The
mesh.
same mesh, yeah.
So actually, they can share like I can't share face animation between Hermes and Varya because they have different
Yeah.
like face rigs altogether.
Yeah.
But Peter and Varya can share them because they come from the
They
same
come
face.
from the same face.
So another thing that I made sure to do is keep their expressions completely separate so that nobody would notice this. So like if Varya has a smile, Peter can't use that asset, like that animation. He has to have his own that's done in a different way. And I think it works out really well. And so, because if they were using the same expressions, you would kind of, I think, maybe some people would realize it, but some people would start to be like, hey, wait a minute.
Wait a minute. Was this made for the PlayStation 2
they
where they
start-
did that all the time?
Because you might also notice a lot of characters have expressions that they make repeatedly.
Yeah.
And if there was a character and I was kind of like using the same expression as a crutch for them a lot, I made sure that no other character made a similar
Made that-
expression,
yeah.
so that it would be less like my deficit and more it's a character trait. So it's like they can never share any expressions at all where they like are perceived to use them a lot. There's some expressions they do share where it's like that expression's not that distinct. So okay.
Yeah, like you
Like,
can
kind of blank
slide
face
some of
expression.
those through easily. Yeah. So a big thing has happened in the story just now. Our boy has just revealed a really he bought the cherry orchards. Boy, that is either a big antagonist move or a big or like what kind of move, like how are we supposed to interpret that? Like cuz like when you first like you have to think on it obviously, but like how what's your interpretation?
Well, because I got this monologue with Matt in a separate session, and this monologue is one of the more famous in the 20th century drama. Like I'll have to study this. In fact, this monologue is why I wanted to direct the show.
Oh,
this monologue is
really?
what attracted me to the show.
Finally cracked.
Specifically, like that line there, oh my god, the cherry orchard's mine, which is actually just adapted from the original. My god, the cherry orchard's mine. That sounds like a villain's line.
Yeah, absolutely. Like he even
But-
comes across kind of villainy with our framing here and kind of the way you're like you've posed him. You get a little of that, but you back it off too. And I think that's important because again, you didn't want to present him as just a villain.
See his.
Because if we take Chekhov as his word, Chekhov writes in his letters like Lopakin is a gentle person, an honest person. He never raises his voice at anybody. He's like a professor, he wrote. Like he has no formal education, but he writes that his demeanor is like that of a professor.
Right.
So if we take Chekhov as his word, then he's not a villain. So then we have to approach this, working backwards of, if he says and does these things, why is it that he's doing them? And I noticed, like, he's already rich. He doesn't need the money for this.
I'm dreaming.
So why is it a big deal to him that he has purchased the orchard?
It's the fruit of imagination.
And he mentions,
Perhaps in-
like as he said before, like he's going to, pave it over to build, building developments and stuff. Why does he have to do this? Why is this so important? Well, if we take it that he's not just evil, then it existing must be so painful for him that he cannot allow any alternatives. Something is driving him to destroy this place. And he says in his line right there, this is the place where my father and his father were slaves.
Yep.
We already know like his background as a peasant. Yeah, exactly. What Puncher Smith says in the comments. He's very ashamed of his identity as. He was never a serf. Serfdom was abolished before he was born, but his father was a serf. He was a peasant.
Yeah.
His past as a peasant makes him feel ashamed. So by doing this, he wants to transform himself, I think, into the aristocrat he hopes to be.
Then why?
Such a good shot here. I love the framing. I love the shading on his face. This looks so amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, we're getting the update. We're getting the update. Oh no!
So I want to point out the original script. In the original script, he weeps at this point. I didn't do that for melodrama. He weeps in the original script.
Oh.
Because he's supposed to be conflicted. Because the thing is, Lubov is like a mother to him. We never actually hear about his birth mother. And the relationship is very much like a mother and a son.
Yeah.
The way like he's sort of like a close confidant of her is the way I imagine like an older woman would speak to her adult son.
Right.
You do what I want now.
So I think he didn't buy the orchard to hurt her.
No.
Her feelings were irrelevant. He bought the orchard to deal with his trauma, but then he sees that he's hurt her terribly. So
like how do you pull back? Like how do you pump the brakes on that? Oh, this is so. Oh my god, this is incredible.
For everything.
Haven't seen that. That's good.
Line.
That's real fucking good. Holy crap.
I'm glad that worked out. That line is like that packs a punch.
That's so, man. This is landing in a way that. I know it's basically just live reaction, the stream here, but. Whew.
No, that's what makes it more fun. If you weren't reacting, then you'd just be like streaming it, and it's like people should buy it if you're not going to talk about it.
Yeah, exactly. Us being here and having this conversation over top, I would hope that I know that one person in chat has already bought it, so we got one. But yeah, like the whole point is like I wanted to show this off, and I wanted to have this conversation with you because I know that this meant a lot to you, and I know that like you would be able to come on here and make this amazing, and it's been incredible. So here for
I appreciate it. Thanks so much for having me on. By the way, this monologue, which I had to study in college when I was studying drama, I used to hate this monologue.
Really?
But Will made me love this monologue. Yeah. The way this scene ends, this moment ended up being my favorite in the show, thanks to Will's performance.
It's very, very well performed, I have to say. And like again, you're doing a great job here with the directing and the framing, everything. Oh no! And reality comes crashing down.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Don't like serious faces.
He doesn't like serious faces. I get it.
Sorry, I'm just kind of. I've seen this a million times. I animated the damn thing.
Yeah.
But I'm still like.
I'm like, look, I'm totally here to drink in the moment just as much because I've not seen this. Like I'm gonna have to play this again after stream because, like, obviously we're talking over it, and but like I want to have that full experience of just like turning the lights off and enjoying it as just a particular. Yeah. So that monologue was the last bit of audio recorded for the show, and I almost didn't get it. Oh yeah.
Just recorded a release. Yeah, I was trying to get Will in, but he forgot, so we didn't have that session, and then he wanted to reschedule and I couldn't do it, and so for a while I was like, well, whatever, we don't need to get this, but we got it, and I'm so glad that we did get it because it's really fucking good. He did a great job. But what's also funny is I didn't tell him how I was going to use that monologue because all the actors came in before I added all this vaporwave magic stuff, and I knew that if I just tried to describe with words what I was doing, it would sound like I was fucking insane. It has to be seen to be believed.
Yeah, like, I don't know how you
So I didn't-
explain in words vaporwave magic other than just saying vaporwave magic.
But what I wanted to communicate there is, like, I didn't want us, because, like, in this act 4, you know, we need to see Peter as himself, as he
Yes.
truly is.
Ladies and gentlemen, please
I didn't
remember,
want people to think, like, oh no, his illusions were ripped
45
away,
minutes,
and so he's going to try to figure out how to become Pretty Peter again. I wanted us to see, like, he could be Pretty Peter again whenever he wants, but he doesn't want to anymore,
Yeah.
because he wants to grow up.
Yeah, like, it's a
He doesn't want to live
good,
a lie.
Funny thing
it's a
is,
good arc.
train as you. Yep. I'm gonna
Yeah.
winter in Kharkov.
I'm glad it worked out,
hanging out with all
particularly
you,
as he's got kind of an arc which is impossible to communicate in English.
Live without work.
There's a funny thing. In Russian, they use the same word for love as they do for like,
Pour you another.
in the sense of, like, you know, liking something but not
See them into town.
it not being like a super
Tomorrow, I'm
super
heading back
big
to
deal to you.
Yeah, like, Japan has a
Um,
similar issue in Japanese, so...
That's none of your business.
Yeah.
how
So
long until you graduate?
when he says he's above love, that's actually a bit more serious in Russian. It's kind of like him saying, "I'm above like attachments to people."
I'm above
at all."
it, yeah, interpersonal relationships. Like,
Oh.
yeah, that's kind of like what I got from just from what giving his character. It's kind of like what I was getting. Is that he felt he was more above interpersonal relationships as a whole.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So like not just romance, but just all like
Yeah.
personal attachments.
I like you.
There's your moment.
Wear out those hands.
I
So-
like you.
Don't wear out your soul either.
Yeah, exactly. In Russian, he says, "I love you." But like although I support queer readings and stuff, I don't believe that he is in love with Hermes.
No. That's not the read I
that
get
to
at
me-
all.
Anything.
It doesn't.
Yes, I
People kept on like bugging me, like they should get together. What? It's like no.
No,
Like
that's-
yeah, I'm a bisexual woman, and I have had same-sex liaisons. I get it, but it doesn't seem honest to these characters for Peter to be in love with Hermes here.
No, not at all.
In the spring, I
So,
planted 3,000 acres. of poppies.
I like
That
you,
made me
which is the
40,000
translation.
profit.
That is the correct translation for that line, because
Picture
if you have him say "I love you" in
So,
English, it
as
will
I'm
not
saying,
accurately
I mean,
communicate
Yeah,
the way
it
a Russian would hear
Doesn't.
that.
Yeah, it's not saying the
But
same
the
thing.
problem is,
I'd like to lend you some.
yeah, he's got this arc of like, oh, you don't know how to love, you don't understand
tell me
love,
you're too
and
good
so
to
that's
take
supposed to be
money from
resolved
a
there
simple
of,
peasant.
oh, he
Your
finally
father
figured
was a
out how
peasant,
to
mine was
love
a
in the sense of
doctor, and
he
that
finally
is
like
absolutely
learned to have
nothing.
affinity for another human being.
Yeah.
I said I don't want
Which is kind of a beautiful story arc, but we can't have that in English because of the way the word love works.
Yeah, you get that a lot. Like, you get that a lot in weird anime interpretations. Like, there's one from Neon Genesis Evangelion that's super famous of a character saying that they love another character, and it's been so hotly debated, it's ridiculous.
Oh, yeah, I've heard about that one.
Yeah. Like that's probably the most famous. So yeah.
I'll get there and show others the way.
Incidentally, although I don't think it bears out in this version due to the way Matt plays him, but I think that it is very possible, or would be within the truth of the text, for Lopakin to be gay or have an attraction to Peter. Because I think that could, you could direct a production where that could be part of his hesitancy to move forward with Varya.
Sure.
But I feel like the story doesn't make sense unless Peter is attracted to your Varya in the original play, Anya. Because if he's not attracted to her, he has no reason for hanging out at the
Yeah.
estate,
I'm
because
worried
he's not
about
like
Varya.
Like,
related to anybody. He
Yeah,
has
like
no
what's his point?
financial
Like,
stake in
what's the
anything.
point of this weird loser that's still in school being here if he's not like got some kind of reason
Yeah.
to be here?
You love her. I
Yeah.
don't understand.
So yeah, he mentioned he took the train to get there. It's like not easy for him to get there. Like why is he there? He has to be there because he's like trying to
be
get
honest,
this person.
Yeah.
I don't understand it myself. It's just
So I don't know. I know nobody was accusing me here, but people, various comments made throughout kind of make me defensive about it. It's like I'm not trying to be heteronormative. It's just like now
Yeah,
what
no,
my
I
solution
get
to that though is
Let's get this over with.
as someone in the queer space
do it if you didn't have
that
a-
has like written
Excellent.
like heterosexual stuff. I have had people kind of get on to me like, why are you writing like, because that exists
I'll
too.
color and go out.
It's a real kind of hard thing to want to call out sometimes, I think, because obviously it's a touchy subject, but at the same time, I think you kind of got to be even-handed here, and it's like, that's not the read, and that's not what they're going for here. It's totally fine. Aww.
Now, ironically, the only character to express heterosexual attraction is played by a gay actor.
What are you looking for?
Oh well.
Acted myself and I don't remember.
That's so good!
Yeah, so
Fantastic! As
Yeah.
all is right with the world.
Yep. All is right in the world.
He's gonna do it. Is he gonna do it? Oh no! What a chump!
I'm going to my great aunt's.
He chumped out.
Poor.
job.
Yeah, he jumped out. This scene is well known among theater nerds because it's a scene where they are saying nothing and saying everything.
Right?
Oh
The actors do such a good job.
You're talking like what they're talking about seems so inconsequential and connected,
Finished?
but
Is it?
what they're saying is actually really intensely tied to what's going on here.
Yes. There will be no more life
Yeah,
in this
because when
house.
directed right, this is a tense scene.
Same train, actually. I have a lot of business.
So,
Well.
yeah,
This time last year, it was already snowing. Remember that?
just gonna wait for reactions.
Now it's sunny. Cold, though.
No, oh, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. I can feel it.
I didn't look.
Ah!
Our thermometer's broken.
Hey, Hermes!
Comedy.
Hermes!
Wanted to,
Be right there.
Oh, her expression is so good.
wanted to. I was trying to play with the convention. Don't know if I pulled it off. This might be a little awkward, but
Well,
that's probably
it's time
one of the more creative uses I found for the framing.
Yeah, really
As
good.
if I never really noticed what the walls and ceilings of this house
In the
were like.
full play, Yepikotov becomes Hermes' servant at the end.
Appropriately.
But
Tender.
yes, he's kind of a slimy character in the 1981 movie. He's played by Timothy Spall and is wonderful. That's the kind of character he is.
Kind of like slimy
Timothy
Weasley
Spall is
characters.
like if people aren't familiar with the actor's name, he plays the rat Peter Pettigrew in the Harry Potter movies. That's Timothy Spall.
Oh, okay, that makes total sense then.
Goodbye, life.
Welcome, new life.
There you go. Welcome, new life.
Those lines are so good.
That's so good.
I know they're cheesy, but Chekhov did it first. They're allowed to be cheesy.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. You were just taking and you're taking what's there and just making it work.
Exactly.
It was like this is like the last
Oh,
shot.
there's a
of the
glitch. I will fix that.
Uh-oh. They've gone away.
Oh, yes. This text, I'm actually taking lines of a character I cut named Fierce. He says these lines, but I gave them to Lopakin for the sake of drama.
I think, yeah, like, okay, yeah. I didn't know that those lines came from another character. And it's like, okay, if you didn't tell me, I would not have known. It seems to fit the moment.
Yeah, well, that's why if they didn't fit the moment, I wouldn't have used them.
Yeah.
Oh, you may have noticed I call this character Hermes and Lopakin interchangeably. I call him Hermes because that's how everybody calls him that in the play. He's barely ever called by his last name. So to avoid confusing people, I will call him that. But I keep going back to Lopakin because if you study this play, or like you know of it in the Western canon, the character is always called Lopakin, and Peter's always called Trofimov.
Yeah.
And I think that's very funny because they're almost never called that. Nobody says the name Trofimov in this entire thing.
That's weird.
Well, I think it was a convention at the time that adult men were always known by their surnames.
Their surname. Okay. I wasn't sure how that worked in Russia. Again, like being more familiar with Japan, I know that that's the thing in Japan, but I wasn't sure, like, because I know that there's an option to use first names or surnames in the options. So
Well, in Russia, the surname also goes first too,
Oh, right.
as they do in Japan.
Yep.
Yeah.
Look at this shot. Holy crap! This looks so good. Oh my god, you're breaking my heart. Oh. You said this was a comedy. Why is my heart hurting? Oh God!
Oh, I gotta fix that glitch. Oh, it's due to the text.
Hermes just got a lot of
This
lines. That's
performance
all.
from Matt is amazing. Also, I want to point out the music here.
Yes.
Jordan worked his ass off on this song because he kept making music for this part of the game, and I kept on being like, I don't know, I don't really like it, which I felt so bad about doing.
Right.
But then he turned this out, and it's like, oh my goodness, this is.
We were working in the yard.
That this is
This
hitting
is-
the note you
well,
want for
you
this
hear it.
scene.
He was
Yeah.
a little drunk.
Oh yeah.
I'll always remember how you saw me and you took me to the sink right here. And you said, "Don't cry, little peasant. It'll be all right. Time for your wedding."
So when I animate faces,
Little peasant.
it's very hard for me to not make the face of what I'm animating.
I imagine so.
And so over the hours that I animated this, like, I wasn't in emotional distress, but it made me start crying too because I kept on making these distressed expressions. I tried not to.
Oh no, you're breaking
So
my
it's like
heart.
I was drained,
Oh man.
way more so than at the end of like anything else.
Yeah.
So basically, I wept the entire time I animated this.
Mom!
We're coming.
Mom, what are you doing? Are you having a metaphysical moment? God, that's so good. You basically just took the last shot of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Admit it. I'm kidding, of course. Ah. Oh my God, that was incredible. I can't wait to have my moment alone later to kind of enjoy that on my own. But just seeing everything that you did to finish this out and how so well all of this came together.
Whew. I'm so glad. This is a passion project. I know it's not a normal thing. It's not. It's hard to market to people, I suppose. But I'm so glad that you liked it. I'm so glad that so many people enjoyed it.
Yeah, like this was so good. I'm so glad that this turned out like it sounds like it turned out exactly the way you wanted it to. And that like as somebody who is also a creator, it's very important to be able to kind of look back at your own work and be like, I fucking nailed that. And I hope that like you have that or have had that moment because it, like I know that this absolutely fucking hit me. I love this. This is so good.
Thank you. I think
Yo,
you know
I'm a sexy and
I've been
awesome
very
people.
frustrated because I've been. Yay!
I made it.
You're in the credits. I think you're in the credits here too.
I am. I'm in the patrons too.
Yep. I had to put Red Star Azimuth on hold because I got very sick in the summer and I had a heart attack and that was very expensive.
Yeah.
I live in the United States, so I've had to put my main project on hold so that I can work and rebuild up my savings.
Right.
And so I'd been so anxious for not having shipped a game in such a long time. So in a way, being able to do this was kind of a reminder to myself, like I still have it.
Oh,
I can still make a cool thing. I haven't lost my touch.
Yeah. So for the folks out there that don't know, what is Red Star Azimuth? Because that's like I've had the honor of getting a look, but I've not talked about it because obviously it's a project that's like not here and stuff. But what can you tell us about Red Star Azimuth to kind of hook people in?
It is it's a first-person puzzle game with a hacking mechanic, and it is as a vaporwave aesthetic. It takes place in the Soviet Union in the 60s at the height of the Cold War. It is about a cosmonaut. So
It's really good.
And a reality hacking cosmonaut, yes.
And like I don't even like puzzle games, but what I played of this game is so bad.
I'm so glad. What I'm actually planning to do when I return to it, I realized I've been trying to kind of cram 2 games into one because there's like this adventure game, there's this puzzle game, and I'm spending all this time trying to reconcile these. What I think is I'm going to split it up and release a puzzle game and an adventure game separately.
Oh.
But I'm hoping to do that in 2022 probably.
Right.
Because I need to build up my finances so that I can return to dev.
Yeah.
But the good news is I'd been kind of down on myself about it before I put it on pause to work on this. Like, what the hell am I doing? I've been working this for such a long time and I don't have a game. I'm a failure or whatever. But I have been poking around in it a little bit recently and I was like, oh, there's actually a pretty mature game in here. Pretty far along. Okay, cool.
Cool. Like this thing that I'm working on, like it's not just disparate strings of nothing. There's actually cool stuff here. Neato. So we wanted to look at the Act 3 extra, I believe.
Yes, you need to see this.
All right, let's do it. Let's dive in.
Let's do it.
Oh, this is
So the whole reason why I did this is, as I mentioned, Varya and Trofimov, Varya and Peter have the same face. Mm-hmm. So it was very easy for you to make gender flip versions of them because they can use the same face animation. So it's the genesis of that.
But how are we going to pay for them?
And then the best joke was making them trade voices.
Oh man, oh wow.
So
Hermes has a lot of money. Marry him and he's stuck with the bill.
Oh my god.
Of course, I'm stuck with him.
So good.
Mrs. No parking.
Decayed gentleman.
I am a decayed gentleman, and I'm proud of it.
Oh my god.
Hermes hasn't come back yet.
Is this awesome?
The auction has to be over by now.
Oh my god.
We settled today.
Lou Bob is killing me. Oh, this is so good.
Mrs. Lopokin knows where he is.
Eternal student. Try joining the real world.
The fake accents just kill me. I love it.
Yeah, like go crazy with it. It's so good.
Yeah, because the meta joke is like, this is amazing.
Right.
It's like I got that. I paid them for their trouble, but I got the actors back in. They thought that was hilarious as well.
This is really good.
And I not going to change the script or anything.
No.
Just to go right in.
Like these.
So I refer to these characters.
He's a good man, and I like
this is Tall Varya, and that's Short Peter, and this is Tall Lubov. So Tall Varya is still a girl, Short Peter is still a boy. This is just in this universe. One's tall and the other's short.
Right.
And that resolves any confusion.
People always think we're serious, but if I bring it up, he just goes quiet and jokes about it.
Oh, I'm loving this. This is so good.
He can't be bothered.
But you can see, this is the face we saw for Peter, but we don't see Peter. We see Varya because the face animation is distinct for each character.
So stupid.
Look at this. It's so good.
So ugly now, Peter.
Oh my god.
Like 40 years old.
Another fun thing about this.
Really cute.
The entire reason why Peter's leaning against the wall is because his character is very tall. He's like, 6.5 feet tall.
Yeah.
And Varya is a short character. Mm-hmm. So Peter's leaning against the wall to equalize their height. But now that means that the difference between them is twice as big.
Yeah.
So I had to redo a lot of the animation around Varya. That's why Varya is leaning down so much to talk to Peter.
Oh, this is such a good look.
As if I'd ever given her a reason to believe
I can't say I like this as much as the original because I think if they're a bit hamstrung by having to do fake accents.
Yeah.
But, I love the look of this. I almost love this better than the original. They did such a good job.
It's got for an extra kind of jokey thing you put it. Look at there it is. Like there's the moment.
So that's what I was talking about. Where the reson why she touches his hand is to make sure people realize this isn't an aggressive, bad, dirty old man touch. This is a good, father-like touch.
Yeah, it's a comforting thing. Yeah, that's really cool.
Yes.
Oh my
Another
God.
fun thing was with this expression. I still consider this to be a male character. This is This is Short Peter, but I think in the expression of this character, let me do some things that I couldn't do otherwise to reveal more about this character. when Peter has these bright green nails. I think that's totally. Like, I don't think tall Peter would do that because he'd be worried about like what other people would think. But in a universe where like that's not such a bizarre thing for him to do, him having these like super tacky nails is really in character.
Yeah, I'm loving the thinking behind this, and the execution is really fun.
Say something.
What difference does it make if you state so today?
This was actually so. I thought at first I could reuse all the body animation, just retargeted, but I ended up having to reanimate almost everything because otherwise it just didn't come off right with these characters and this expression.
Yeah.
So it's like a ridiculous amount of effort for this extra feature.
For this extra thing.
This probably took me like 3 weeks to do.
Oh, wow.
But ironically, so this is an extra. All the animation here is higher quality than the animation the rest of this story because I did it most recently. When
because you got better as you went. Your workflow became more efficient. Yeah, like it's kind of like how somebody makes a game sequentially and like the stages get better as you go. It's just that's just a natural progression of them being better at the craft.
Man your age should understand love by now, but
I particularly had to redo all the animation here because if you recall in the, I guess I'd call actual or prime universe, Lubov pushes Peter.
Yeah.
But that's going to parse
That's
not in the right
way
way if we have
different.
Lubov pushing short Peter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
above love.
So I had to redo the scene blocking
You're one of those.
so that,
what
you know,
they
the
call
aggression is kept metaphorical and not
incel.
physical.
Never had a girlfriend. And you're
Oh man.
Sake! Leaving.
It's so good.
Ash is so good. They're all so good.
Oh God.
We're not friends anymore.
Peter.
Oh no, Peter, come back! There's stairs, watch out! Don't die again. Oh!
One thing Ash and I love about Peter is, in this expression, there are so few cases where, you know, an actress like Ash can play a character who's an idiot in this way. Because, like, usually if you've got someone who is voicing a character who at least sounds like a girl, the kind of idiot they are is like a ditz or an airhead.
Yeah.
This is a different type of idiot. This is a very fun idiot character that usually only men get to play. So
Yeah.
Ash had a lot of fun taking it.
Yeah, like it's not something women get to do a lot of.
You really have no
And now,
Oh
for
no!
the not to knock what everybody else did, but this is obviously the best part because of Varya is about to, you know, rough up Yeppe
Yeah!
Kotov.
This is gonna be fun!
see you at your desk. You just screw around all day. God knows why we keep flirting.
Whether I work or walk about, or eat or play billiards, is only a matter to be settled by people of understanding. And my friends.
Oh, here we go.
Talk to me like that.
Yeah!
So I don't understand anything.
That look! Oh my God, it's so good.
This minute.
Because there's some kind of menace that you can only get from a baritone.
Absolutely! Don't!
This is fun. Yeppe Kotov is played by Michael Azigas, by the way, who is a native of New Jersey, so that's why you can do that accent so well.
Okay. I was wondering if that accent was natural.
Are you going?
I don't know.
Where are you going?
I call
Oh,
it
no!
natural because he doesn't talk like that all the time, but
Womp! Oh, jeez. I killed him!
Much obliged.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
Hey, don't worry about it. I'm grateful. Reception.
I've obviously seen this a million times because I animated it, but it still makes me laugh.
So you get like I have to imagine animating
not
fun,
at
good
all.
physical comedy like that. It cannot be easy. Like the timing, the reactions, the way, like that's all gotta work real. That's all gotta be done really well. Yeah!
It's challenging. Because
I love that we've got a separate
the
credit.
versatility of the cast here.
This is so good.
This song surprisingly makes a great credits tune.
Yeah,
So nice
yeah,
job, Jordan.
it's a real good credits theme. Oh my word!
And a stinger.
Screen.
Oh no!
It's when you know the real passion is coming out. Buddy.
Oh my god!
That wasn't scripted. That was actually just Will chattering between.
Oh yeah. Taking a moment like that, and taking a little candid moment like that, and making a little. That's real good. Make a fun little stinger at the end.
It's fun to animate outtakes.
Oh my god! This was absolutely fun.
I'm so glad you enjoyed it.
Oh god! Like I said, I can't wait
I'm so happy.
to have the moment where I get to like just enjoy this by myself because I wanted to share this with other people, and again, I wanted to have you on. I hope being on was fun. I hope you had a good time.
Oh yeah,
I had a great time getting to experience this and sharing it with people. Go buy the Cherry Orchard. It is absolutely worth your time. It's absolutely worth your cash. I promise you. This is so good. Thank you
so much for the glowing endorsement.
Thank you so much for coming on, making time to do this. It was absolutely fantastic. And I guess this is kind of where we say, like, where can the fine folks in internet land find you if they want to keep up with you and your shenanigans?
Ooh, me and my shenanigans. Such beautiful, wholesome
All
shenanigans.
of the shenanigans.
They can find me on, I need to pull this up so I can post the link in
Yeah, absolutely.
chat.
Absolutely.
They can find me on Twitter. I have many shenanigans on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
And I am always posting shader goodness.
So much.
So I'll post the link there. And if you'd like to pick up this game, let me do my commercial plug and pull up the links for the storefronts. If you are on Linux or Mac, or Windows, you can get it at itch. I've just posted the link in chat. And if you're on Windows, you can get it on Steam.
Nice.
And I'll post that link in there. Where I may have accidentally closed the window. Let me pull that back up. Twitch, where did I put you?
Oh no.
I don't know where I put it. Somebody else is going to have to post the link.
It's gone forever. Do you need me to link to my channel again? Is that what you need?
Yes.
Twitch.tv.
Because I accidentally closed the tab and I can't find it.
Twitch.tv/polyhead.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yes, thanks for your patience, everybody. There we go.
There.
I don't know. It's been a long day.
Right. There we go.
All right. And there's achievements on Steam too. I know it's a fun novel. You get achievements.
You get achievements in a kinetic visual novel. These are gonna be the easiest achievements of your life, people. How did I play the whole game and I only got 5 out of 9? What'd I do? How did I not get them all? What did you do?
I don't know. I guess you just.
I'll just have to experiment.
Yes.
But are there any parting thoughts you'd like to leave our lovely viewers with before we kick them out of here and send a host somewhere?
Thanks so much for having me on, and I am really glad that you enjoyed this, and it was a labor of love, not just by myself, but also the cast, who are amazing, and the music producer, Jordan. They are also a huge part of why this, I think, lands so well. Mm-hmm. So, huge, heartfelt thanks to them for their amazing and hard work.
Thanks much, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and boot everybody out of here. I'm going to send y'all over to our friend who was in here earlier, Jetstorm4. He is streaming the last story. So we're going to send you over that way to continue spreading the love. And thanks again, everybody, for coming out. Thanks, Manuela, for coming on and like doing this again. Like, this was an absolute blast. I just made my evening. And thank you for the amazing game as well. So, later, everybody. We're getting out of here.
All right.
There you go. And